Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to begin this lesson by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rukakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and who taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, which includes you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, West Indians and Haitians. Decided to add that in my intro this time. I want to say all praises, honor, and glory is definitely due to Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai. Once again, especially in the times that we're living in. Very interesting, very beautiful times, as prophecies are moving rather quickly. Okay, and we see Jacob's trouble is heating up. Okay, and when we speak of Jacob's trouble, this Jacob's trouble, that prophecy consists of a collaboration, for lack of better words. It's multiple prophecies happening at once, that includes Jacob's trouble. Okay, such as, different plagues, famine of the word, World War III, and, uproars of the people, famines, period, famines, food shortages, and all these things work together, all these prophecies come together to make Jacob's trouble. So we're going to get into a few things. Let me begin by with 2nd Ezra chapter 9. And I'll start at the top. It says, "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made." And when you see that word visit, it means basically judge. And the Lord is judging this place. Okay. And we're seeing the signs. It says, "Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning." Okay, and we are seeing, earthquakes, are happening on a daily basis somewhere, just about, and even the earthquakes, you barely hear about. You don't really hear about a small 4.0 magnitude or something like that. And lately we've been hearing about 6 point something or 7 point something earthquakes. Okay, because things are increasing. Things are just getting worse and worse. The prophecies get stronger as time progresses. Okay. It says, "For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings, and wonders, and powerful works, and ending effects and signs." Okay, and we're seeing the signs right now with all the things that are going on, that we are at end times. You know what I'm saying? We are at end times. Okay, so I want to get into some videos I was looking at, yeah, we're gonna get into it. So let's start with this one. It's about 11 minutes long. I'm liable to chime in, a couple of times throughout the video. But just check this out. And this is from the brother's channel, GMS in Rome, Lions on Fire. Okay, I know forget the brother's name, but I know he's in the Dallas camp. Subscribe and be edified.
누나 디디
موجة سالة.
We're hearing that is one of many sites that have been hit in Iran. That was a nuclear facility we're hearing in Bushehr. As we're hearing, the United States is absolutely lighting up Iran right now. Donald Trump said we're bombing the hell out of them, and the video footage that is pouring in, he was not exaggerating. Now, I'm going to be sharing with you the live feeds, and we're hearing that this is the third night in a row happening right now. It is 8:33 p.m. Central Standard Time here in Houston, Texas. It's July 13th, 2026. There is another round of attacks that is currently happening right now. As we speak, Donald Trump is absolutely obliterating Iran. Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest so that way you can see it for yourself. I've got a ton of video footage and a ton of articles we're going to be looking at. Let's take a look here coming out from the live feeds from CBS News. You can see here the latest. Trump orders more strikes on Iran after vowing to keep the Strait of Hormuz and charge fees. So we're hearing that he is saying we're going to be keeping it. We're going to be in charge of it. Our soldiers, our ships, our time, our money, our effort, our energy. As a result, we're going to be charging fees. We're going to be going through the live feeds here in just a bit. And in addition to that, let me know your thoughts. Are you concerned that this is going to be exploding into World War III? I've heard a lot of people saying they're concerned about this turning into a global conflict. If you think that this is the direction that we're going to be going, drop WW3 in the comments.
And this is definitely the direction that we're moving in. Okay. And once again, this is part of prophecy. Okay. Now let's find this right quick. Zephaniah 3 and 8. It says, "Therefore wait ye upon me, said Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy." Okay. And that's what's happening. Okay, the Lord is gathering these nations, into a global war. Okay, and this will definitely this is the beginning of World War III. Okay, you still got China at war with Taiwan, I believe. You got the Russia-Ukraine war. Israel just at war with every doggone body. As is America, Babylon the Great. And as and this ultimately, leads to, yes, World War III, which leads to the return of Yahweh Shai. Okay, because these nations will stop fighting each other, to fight Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai. Okay, so they're getting really ready, to fight against the second coming of our Lord and Savior, man. Okay, but ultimately, everything you see that's going on is because Esau is trying to he's trying to create a pseudo birthright, and he has to get you Israelites out the way mainly. And so best believe that nothing that they're doing is by accident. It's all been planned. Okay. And this is gonna lead to the economy shutting down. As you see, it's already weakened. You know what I mean? But this is necessary in order for this man to bring in that CHIP, Revelation 13 and 16, in Revelation 3 and 10, that's the hour of temptation, which will be happening, alongside Jacob's trouble, and all these things are in the works. Okay, now let me see. Let me find this here, because I haven't bought this one out in a while, so I forget where it is. Let's see. So it wants me to do a Google search, I guess. Let's see. Oh, I think it's if it were already kindled. Because the Lord said he was coming to bring fire on the earth. What would have had already be kindled? Okay, so that's Luke 12 and 49. Let's get it. Interesting times, man. Interesting times. Okay, so yeah, Luke 12 and 49. Let me highlight that for you. It says, I am come to send fire on the earth. And what will I if it be already kindled? Okay? And that's what you're seeing. The fire is already going to be kindled. Because once again, these nations are going to be at war with each other, bombing each other. And when that war goes nuclear, you know what I'm saying? That's when Yahweh Shah returns. Okay? And we're seeing it's just that close. We're just that close. Okay? So you gotta know that these other prophecies are moving right along as well. Okay? So, I mean, yeah, we're just in that time, Let's get back to the video.
We're going to be going, drop WW3 in the comments, but one step closer is take a look at this so you can see it for yourself coming out just in the past 2 hours. Donald Trump has just given Saudi Arabia's crown prince his backing for risky strikes on the Houthis in Yemen. So we are hearing that the Middle East is factioning. We are seeing people jumping in, and it is escalating. This is not just the United States, Iran and its proxy groups, and Israel. We're hearing that other nations are getting sick of Iran, and more people are jumping in. If you think so, put WW3 in the comments. Now, if you think no, put no in the comments. Let me know your thoughts, but I'm going to be sharing with you the latest video footage, the articles coming out, a lot coming out today. Things are escalating significantly. And let me put this on the screen for you. Like I said, we've got a lot of video footage. Let me go ahead and share this with you real quick here. We heard from the president a couple of hours ago. And if you missed my live stream earlier, we heard the announcement that President Donald Trump is going to have a national address here unexpectedly Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be covering it with you. He's saying he needs to talk to the nation. Didn't say what it was about, but everybody right now is speculating things are popping off with the war, and he needs to talk to the United States. Now, we will see.
Yeah, things are definitely popping off, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to say myself. I'm sure all the brothers are. You know what I mean? But yeah, we're in that time. This is a time for war. So let's go to Revelation chapter 11. Okay. Is it verse 14? Yeah, Revelation 11 and 14, it says, the second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Okay, and that third war is talking about that third world war. We had World War One, World War Two. This is that third war. Okay, okay. It says, and the nations, verse 18, jumping down to verse 18, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. So ultimately the Lord is putting the spirit on these people to bring war, because ultimately it leads to the destruction of America, Babylon the Great, as well as the land, Israel. Okay, the only difference is that Israel will be rebuilt, because that is our homeland, and we will go back and dwell there. Okay, for eternity. Okay, world without end. Okay. But yeah, we in the time of war, you know what I'm saying? Is that Ecclesiastes? Let me see, chapter. It might be chapter 1. Let's see. Okay, so it's gonna be verse Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Verse 8. It says, a time to love and a time to hate. If you jump up to verse 1, actually, it says, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. And so down to verse 8, just getting to the point, it says, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. So we're in that time of war, man. We're in that time of war. And it's happening right before your very eyes, and it's going to manifest quickly into World War III, but understand, before this war goes nuclear, as it will, other prophecies have to happen, and we're going to get into some of that, okay?
See, but let's take a look at what the president actually had to say earlier today.
So we have them in a position that they don't have any military. There's not a thing they can do about it. All they have is fake news, because they have the fake news, would rather see us lose the war than win the war, which is really treasonous, in a certain way. So we're doing another very major attack tonight. They want to make a deal. They came back. We made a deal 2 days ago, and they want to make a deal. They've been negotiating for 47 years, but nobody's ever hit them militarily. We're hitting them very hard. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much.
The repeated adventurism and hostile actions by the United States to interfere in the management of the Strait of Hormuz.
Right quick, this lets you know, because Iran ain't really moved by this. They pissed off. You know what I'm saying? And best believe they're gonna strike back in some way, form, or fashion. Okay, but this devil is saying that they want to make a deal. No, they don't. No, they don't. That's why you can't believe everything you hear. You damn sure can't believe anything these people say. Let's get Psalm chapter 58, I believe. And it says, yeah, the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth the ear. These people don't do nothing but lie. Everything you hear, especially when you see this man on TV, he ain't doing nothing but lie. Okay? You got that saying that says the devil is a liar. Well, that's true, because the so-called white man is the devil, and they don't do nothing but lie. Okay, and he wants you to think that he has the upper hand, when in actuality he doesn't. Right now he's moving out of fear of losing. Okay, and don't think for a second that Iran is backing down. Okay, it's not gonna be that easy. Okay, you're gonna have to go nuclear. Okay, and they're going to realize that soon, because the Lord is going to make it happen. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah going to make it happen. You can't stop the prophecies, man.
Interfere in the management of the Strait of Hormuz have seriously endangered regional security, international trade, and the passage of oil tankers and commercial vessels. And unfortunately, the cooperation of some countries in the region has also increased the risk of the war spreading throughout the region. Accordingly, it is hereby announced that, following previous warnings, we will under no circumstances allow the United States to interfere in the management of the Strait of Hormuz, and we will not allow it to do so. The armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran will deal forcefully with any disruption to the passage of commercial vessels and oil tankers by the invading and pirate U.S. military outside the route designated by Iran and without the permission of the armed forces, and the powerful actions of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and the Iranian army in recent days are evidence of this claim. The leaders of the countries in the region are warned that any cooperation with the United States and any logistical support for that country's invading military will be regarded as war against Iran's sovereignty and national security. And if the war spreads across the region, the flames of war will engulf all the countries of the region. Responsibility for all insecurity and the expansion of the war in the region lies with the United States and the countries that cooperate with that country's criminal military.
Where does Trump go from here? I mean, obviously we restarted these strikes over the weekend, but do we really just need to bring the full hammer down and go back to full combat operations?
So a couple of things. One, on the sort of tapping us along, the Iranian regime claims that there was a mistake whenever the IRGC fired at these tankers. But as you pointed out, Bill, Bahidi is the head of the IRGC, and he has never complied with any of this. And he has been determined to continue to fire in the strait. It insists that the Iranians are going to keep control over the strait. So I do think that we're going to see a series of increased military operations to degrade the Iranian ability to coerce through the strait. That's why you see all of what Central Command is hitting.
Yeah, so once again, you see, I mean, hey, Iran, they they with the shits. They ain't backing down. You know what I'm saying? Now we in this truth, you know, we ain't taking sides. We know that the Lord is gathering all these nations together for judgment. Okay. And so we ain't taking no sides. We do what you gotta do, man. Do what you gotta do, all y'all. You know what I mean? Because this only excites us when we hear this news. You know, those of us that's in this truth and that's looking forward to the kingdom of heaven. You know, this is actually kind of exciting because it's like, man, we're just that close. I can almost taste the kingdom. You know what I mean? And Esau is getting to that point where he can't keep kicking the can down the road. So he's going to keep provoking, you know, Iran and these other nations, you know, into war, you know. And eventually it's going to lead to Russia joining in, as spoken of in Ezekiel chapter 38. You know, China is going to be an all-out global war. You know what I mean? And I mean, hey, we're on the brink of that right now, you know. So like I said, it's very beautiful times we're living in, you know. But as you can see, Iran ain't backing down, and you got to know that Russia and China have financial and business interests with Iran. Okay, so at any given time, they can step in and help out. That's why America ain't decided to just nuke them, because they ain't ready to be nuked. And like I say, the Lord ain't gonna let them do it, because they gotta bring that MOTB in first, man. Okay, they gotta implement that CHIP. All right.
Is all of these coastal defenses, these one-way attack drones from the air and from the sea. And I think if it doesn't move quickly enough to degrade these capabilities, you may see an increased number of combat operations on mainland Iran.
You saw what just happened, yeah?
I was on with somebody else literally before this. So what
Perfect.
happened?
Well,
You're
I'm
always
excited
the
to
one
break.
to update us.
I love it. I'm excited to break this news for you because that's fits perfectly into the escalation trap.
Uh-oh.
So I'll read out a post that Trump put, just a few minutes ago.
Oh my goodness.
The Hormuz Strait is open and will remain open with or without Iran. That's fine. We are reinstating the Iranian blockade, so named because it is only stopping Iran's ships or customers from entering or leaving. All other countries will have fair and open use of the straits. The USA will be, from this point forward, known as the guardian of the Hormuz Strait. But as such, and as a matter of fairness, we will be reimbursed at the rate of 20% on all cargo shipped for any and all costs necessary to do the job of providing safety and security to this very volatile section of the world. The process...
Yeah, so this man, as you can see, it ain't gonna stop, man. Iran is not gonna just let them take over like that, but he's not gonna stop trying. Okay? Trump ain't gonna stop trying, and besides, he's being forced. His hand is being forced. So like I said, it's a lot going on, but this war is leading to other things that I want to get into. So let's go. This is another video I was looking at. Right here.
Okay guys, so the worst case scenario is becoming a reality as Iran has declared that they're going to price the barrels at $200 or more due to the recent attacks from Daddy Trump. And that is coming from CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, and others.
Now mind you, they just said that Trump is saying that the Strait of Hormuz is open and he's taking control of it. You know what I'm saying? But yet, you got this going on. Let's start that over. That's why I say you can't believe these devils. They're going to tell you what you need to hear, so you'll think that they're actually winning, when in actuality, they're not. They're losing horribly.
Okay guys, so the worst case scenario is becoming a reality as Iran has declared that they're going to price the barrels at $200 or more due to the recent attacks from Daddy Trump. And that is coming from CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, and others. I'm just trying to think, because gas recently, or I guess at the start of the war, it shot up over $100, and we saw how gas was expensive and how ridiculous it was. So I'm just imagining $200 per barrel. Dude, people are not going to afford to go to work. Literally, they will not be able to. So what's going to happen to the American economy?
Work in Egypt.
I mean, this is going to have severe economic consequences for the American people and its economy. But hey, I'm glad that Daddy Trump started this war, because...
Well, we've now traded strikes with Iran for the second day since the peace agreement has completely collapsed, and now we are even closer.
I'm going to say fair use. I know this is from the Brother Hours of Indignation, but this is Kim Iverson speaking. I'm going to still say fair use under the Copyright Act of 1976. Okay, this is only for educational purposes, okay? And we're teaching, okay?
To what could be a catastrophe. The U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve is now at 19 million barrels, and it is 19 million barrels away from estimated minimum operating levels is what this is showing us. You can see where it says, let me just pull this up full screen. This chart, by the way, goes all the way back to 1989 is the first year on the chart. Let me just go ahead and remove this lower third for you so you can take a look at it. And it goes all the way up into where we are today. And we are here is the yellow arrow. We are really close to that red line. So the strategic petroleum reserves are almost to the point where we don't have any reserves. So what exactly does this mean? Well, does it mean we're not going to have any more oil? No, we produce quite a bit of oil as a country. But what it does mean is we will see inflation when, Donald Trump actually said that we were, I believe, 2 weeks away. Let me actually look at the calendar. It was June 17th that Donald Trump said we were 4 weeks away from running out of oil. And 4 weeks would be next week, the 15th. And we're on the 9th today. So by next Wednesday, apparently the strategic reserves will hit.
And that shows you how close we are once again, because that was like a week ago when she did this video. And here we are. I mean, since it's after midnight, we are on the 15th. So we here, man. Things about to get ugly. It's about to get real ugly out here in Babylon. But let me let her finish and get some more scriptures.
That red line by next Wednesday. And that means that prices are going to go up. When people, the market, we still have oil. It's not like we've run out of oil, but markets are very reactionary. So when they know that the government can't whisk in and release more oil barrels in order to boost the economy back up, they start pricing things like, oh no, we're at that point. We don't have any reserves left. We have no money in the bank, basically. So we're living paycheck to paycheck. And if a crisis hits, we have enough oil to keep ourselves functioning on a day-to-day, but if a crisis hits, just very much like living paycheck to paycheck, crisis hits, you're screwed.
So let's get 2nd Ezra chapter 16, because, hey, this is where we are, man. This is where we are. So 2nd Ezra chapter 16, I think I'm going to start at, verse 1. I'm going to read a little bit and then I'm going to jump down. It says, woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Okay, and so honestly, this is basically speaking of America. All these are code words for America, But it says, gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. The sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is that? What is he that may drive them away? Because ain't nobody gonna stop the will of the Lord, man. Everything that's going on is the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Yeah, because it's bringing about the end of this man's kingdom. It says, jumping down to verse 18, it says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. And what shall I do when these evils shall come? It says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. Okay, so don't get too lackadaisical thinking everything is okay right now. Just because your gas is only at $3, where it's almost at $4 or $5. You know what I mean? And I'm just speaking in here in Houston where I'm at. It had almost reached $4, and it went down to where it's just a little over $3 now. Okay, but no, it's gonna go back up. That's why the scriptures say, when they shall think peace and safety, sudden destruction shall come upon them. And this is gonna be all of a sudden. You see what I'm saying? Now, those of you that's listening and watching, you won't be caught off guard. But everybody else is just gonna be all of a sudden. They ain't gonna know what to do. But that's why scriptures say wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Let's get that and we'll come back. Okay. So this is the book of Isaiah chapter 33 and 6. It says that wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Okay? And we carry a healthy fear of the Lord. That's why we move the way that we move, out of fear of the Lord. Because we know that the Lord is judging this place, and we don't want to be judged. So we holding on to this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that we have to make us continue to move that way. Okay? And it's gonna keep us stable, in the times to come. Okay? And those times are knocking at the door. Hard. Okay? Knocking loudly. We're here. You know what I mean? So going back to 2nd Ezra chapter 16. Okay, and I'm gonna be ending this off pretty soon. I was at somewhere down to verse 18. Okay, yeah, so verse 20, it says, for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be mindful of the scourges, because people just want to continue in their wickedness. You know, people not paying attention to the prophecies. They don't even know the prophecies. They don't have the wisdom and knowledge. Okay? And so people just continue in their wickedness, not understanding that this is Bible prophecy, that this is end time prophecy. Okay? And the Lord is bringing judgment. It says, verse 21, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, and they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Okay, this is coming. These things are coming, man. It says, for many of them that dwell upon the earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. Okay? And the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. Yeah. And you ain't gonna be able to find the brothers around. You ain't gonna be able to come to the prophets. You ain't gonna be able to come and ask us, man, hey, explain to me what's going on. I know you was saying this, you was saying that. See, we coming to that time, they're gonna know that a prophet was amongst them. Okay, while everybody's ignoring the words of the prophets, beginning with the elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down to like-minded brothers like myself. I'm not proclaiming to be a prophet. Let that be known. But I am a man of the Lord, and I have been given the Spirit to speak this word and to warn. Okay. Of the things that are happening, you know what I'm saying, relating it to Bible prophecy, man. So, I mean, there's no way around it. Ultimately, you just need to repent. You just gotta repent, man. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Okay? And see, when they talk about gas shortages, oil shortages, okay, that means gas prices are gonna skyrocket, like the guy said in the beginning of that video. You know, it's the people that ain't even gonna be able to afford to go to work. You know what I mean? So it's finna get real. Like I said, it's finna get real bad. There won't be no work for Egypt. You know, prices are gonna skyrocket. It won't just be inflation like she mentioned. This is gonna be hyperinflation. Prices are already inflated. This is about to be hyperinflation. When the loaf of bread costs you $20. You know what I'm saying? These are the times we're coming into. Okay? So jumping down again, 2nd Ezra 16 verse 37. It says, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child is in the 9th month, bearing forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. And see, these are the birth pains of the kingdom. Okay, Everything you're seeing, I mean, like a woman has contractions, and they don't stop. These are the contractions. Okay? It says, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. So once again, I mean, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, it says, when they shall hear of peace and safety, sudden destruction come upon them. Okay, no, you see, they things happen, and then they'll tell you that it's over with, you're good, and no, you're not good. This is going to continue going, and it's going to continue escalating. And we have to stay on our watch. We have to be circumspect and understand the times that we're living in, and understand that things can just pop off at any given moment. You can wake up in the morning and all the power is off. You know, you probably went to the store today, bought a little bit of groceries, spent a certain amount of money. You know what I'm saying? In the morning, you'll find out, you know, that same amount of groceries you bought, you know, today or yesterday now costs triple the amount that it costed the last time you bought it. You know what I mean? So it says, "O my people," verse 40, "O my people, hear my word. Make you ready for thy battle, and in those days be even as pilgrims upon the earth." Okay, and a pilgrim is basically somebody just passing through. This is not our final destination. Our final destination is the kingdom of heaven. Okay? He that selleth, let him be as he that fleeth away, and he that buyeth as one that will lose. He that occupieth merchandise as he that hath no profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that shall not dwell therein. He that soweth as if he should not reap, so also he that planteth the vineyard as he that shall not gather the grapes. Okay? So basically, I mean, understand you got to get ready to let go of everything. Okay? Be ready to let go of everything. Your house, your car, your food, nothing, because you can't take none of that into the kingdom with you anyway. The Lord is warning you that all these things are about to be taken away from you anyway. All your goodies about to be gone. Your video games, you know. Even your women. A lot of people about to lose their women. You know what I'm saying? Because this devil is getting ready to come down with great wrath. It says, they that marry, verse 44, they that marry as they that get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers, and therefore they that labor in vain. Okay. So we still do what we gotta do, you know what I'm saying, to survive, you know, until, you know, shit hits the fan. You know what I'm saying? But when shit hits the fan, man, we got to be ready to just say, to get up and move around when it's time. And that can happen at any moment. Okay? And it's just the times that we're living in. I just wanted to get into a couple of things. I think I had one more video I wanted to get into. Well, I just wanted to let you watch it anyway. And this is, yeah.
The Iranians want the United States to take some of these territories. They want them to come in. That's where the war starts. They're not going to keep them out. They want their forces to come on Iranian territory. And then those capabilities that Iran has hidden for decades and has been preparing for decades.
And Salakia is watching this. The time is 4:41. Okay. A.M. You know, that 144 is the call of Allah Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai.
Against the Americans, they'll begin using them. They'll begin striking the American troops. They'll begin to hammer them, counter-strikes, whether it's on islands or whether it's on the mainland. They'll just They'll make them miserable. Ultimately, the Americans are going to have to leave. We discussed this at the very beginning of the war, almost at the beginning. I don't know when was our first conversation after the war began. I said that the Americans want this to be a short war, and the Iranians want this to be a long war. Remember, during the 39 days of fighting initially, the Americans, they said unconditional surrender. They thought it'd be over in a couple of days. Many of Iran's friends thought it would be over in a few days. The Iranians were planning this for decades. The Iranians were planning for a long war. So after a few days, when the Americans saw things were going downhill,
and see, this is, like I said, this is gonna bring a lot of prophecies to pass. Isaiah 4:1. Okay, because you know what? Because I'm gonna get that, but let me get this Isaiah chapter 3 right quick. Isaiah 3:25, I believe. Yes, it says, it says, thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. And if you read up in here, this is basically talking about the women, because they're gonna need a form of protection, because a lot of men are gonna die in this war. And they, like I said, they're gonna have to do a draft. They can barely afford to put troops on the ground right now, but they're gonna have to. Therefore, they're gonna do a draft and get all these people that ain't military ready to go on the ground to die. Okay. And that's why women are gonna be without men, without any form of protection. Okay. That's why it says a man will be as a hiding place from the wind. Is that? And I know I'm kind of all over the place. And I know it's this in Isaiah. I thought it was Isaiah chapter 3. Let me see. Okay, so let me see. And we'll probably just end it with Isaiah 4:1. One reason for that is just because it's fun. Oh yeah, Isaiah chapter 32. I knew it was in Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 32. Okay, Isaiah 32:2, it says, and a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. So when Isaiah 4:1 comes into play, is because these women are going to be seeking some kind of safety, a safety net. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not going to have any protection. Their only protection is going to be a man of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And see, all these prophecies are getting ready to happen, man. And that's why you see, I mean, it's already happening, but it's about to heat up. You know what I'm saying? Drastically. Okay? And once it heats all the way up, you know what I'm saying? Once it reaches its fullest potential, you know what I'm saying? You're going to see how the mindset of a lot of people are going to change. You already have women talking about being in relationships. Is that monogamy? You know what I'm saying? Being sister wives and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because the Lord is putting that spirit in the earth. So let's go ahead and get that as Isaiah 4:1. It wasn't my plan, you know what I'm saying, at first, but since we in there, we talking about it. It says, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread, we wear our own apparel, only let us be called by thy name, to take away our reproach. So these women, they're going to pretty much be looking for a man to protect them. Okay. And as the scriptures say, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. It's going to be men with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of what's going on that's going to be stable enough to protect them. Okay? Men that the Lord gives spiritual powers to are going to be able to protect them. Okay? And with all these things going on, we're going to need those spiritual powers, because this devil is getting ready to come down with great wrath, man. We're going to have to be able to protect ourselves and protect our women and our children. You know, those who the Lord has ordained for us to protect. Okay? So like I said, very interesting times we're living in, man. You know, I mean, we just here, man.
They kept sending messages, the Iranians ignored them. Until Trump accepted the Iranian 10-point plan, which was a humiliation for him. And people attacked him, and then ultimately his folks went and said, no, we threw it in the bin. But, you know, he accepted it. He tweeted it. So then came...
Yeah, I mean, you can go ahead and watch the rest of that if you want to. It's also from Arrows of Indignation, you know. But let me end it right here in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30. And it's going to be start at verse 5. It says, for thus said Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child, as we were just reading in 2nd Ezra chapter 16. Wherefore, I mean, not talking about a man travailing with child, talking about how a woman go through birth pains, and this is the same thing, but you're going to see men actually acting as if they're going through birth pains. It says, wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. That's how bad it's going to get. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And that he is the elect men of the nation of Israel. The elect of the nation of Israel, man. So yeah, we're in that time. We're in that time, man. I'm going to end it right there, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rugak Wadash, Lord will, you brothers and sisters, were edified until the next time. Shalom.